Life was simpler, yet harder. People in Tennessee 150 years ago simply wanted to live in peace. But divisive political arguments brought an explosion of emotions and took young men from farm fields to battlefields.
We see it again and again in Tennessee, where families were completely split down the middle, where one went off in one way and one went off the other way, and sometimes even met up on the battlefield.
The bitter rivalry of brother against brother was more true in Tennessee than perhaps anywhere in the South. Over the next 4 years, Nashville Public Television and the Renaissance Center, through a series of documentaries, will explore a time in our history known as the Civil War that changed us as a nation forever.
It completely changed the social order and the way we viewed ourselves as a people.
Our first story explores why Tennesseans chose to join the Confederate States of America and fight a new war for their independence. When Tennesseans first voted whether to secede from the Union, a large majority said no, but the attack on Fort Sumter and the new president's call for troops changed everything. The song Dixieland even now stirs deep emotions. It's a reminder how the power of music could shape the sentiments of a nation. The music of the Civil War is the second story in our documentary series. Sometimes, music brought brief unity. On the eve of the Battle of Stones River, regimental bands from both armies joined together in the playing of Home Sweet Home.
Even though all these men knew the next day they would be locked in mortal combat, just for those few minutes, mentally they were all attuned to thoughts that had very little to do with combat.
In our third story, we explore how the issue of freeing the slaves, emancipation, became central to the outcome of the Civil War. With great courage, blacks grasped the chance not only to claim their freedom, but to fight for it, and they did so by the thousands.
Abolitionists like Frederick Douglass were pushing this movement because they wanted to prove to President Lincoln and to other whites in the North that the Negro should fight to end slavery.
While slaves fought to break the chains of the past, women were forced into circumstances that few ever imagined.
Women are now left with the full responsibility of the whole family, not just the management of the house, the hearth, the home, and the children.
Our fourth story explores the home front of Tennessee, where mothers and daughters were often forced to choose between ingrained ways of life or surviving the destruction that surrounded them. Death, destruction, a new world. Few Tennesseans doubted those realities once the news arrived about a huge April 1862 battle that occurred near a little church building called Shiloh. Our fifth story tells of the courage and the sacrifice of that horrific day of fighting.
Shiloh is in essence somewhat like Pearl Harbor in the awakening of the American public.
We want to share Tennessee's Civil War stories with everyone. In addition to the documentaries, NPT and the Renaissance Center will produce short features for broadcast, for the internet, and for children in the classroom. These are teaching resources that can also encourage preservation of endangered battlefields. There's no better time to put those stories on the screen, to remember and recognize the human cost of conflict, to preserve the places and battlefields of this chapter in our history so we can continue to learn and never forget.